I hit go live. Hey, this would be a good time we can try the trim feature too. Surprise.
Maybe we'll have to do it again if not. Oh, I just got my notification.
So
So
did I.
awesome. So we'll see who has notifications in the group.
Exactly.
I do see captions, by the way.
Fabulous. I see captions too. There was a big question about whether you get captions or not.
Exactly. Don't you love it when we test things? All right. So we're back. Exactly. To talk about
Facebook group types. Yes.
Exactly. So
important.
Exactly. But before we need to know a type, let's talk about the Facebook group in general. Why would you even want a Facebook group? There's a lot of reasons. Obviously,
there's a lot of work involved.
There is a lot of work involved. So you have to decide, you have to bridge that work. The pain or gain, I guess. You got to feel the burn to get the reward. That's kind of that fitness analogy. But in a group, if you have a Facebook group, you control the narrative there for the most part. Obviously, you can allow people to post and it can get away from you. So you do have to be careful, but it is a private space, or hint, hint, or it can be a public space, hint, hint. But it gives you a lot more control. And Facebook's all in on groups. So we wanted to come back and talk about the group types because that is one of the biggest questions we get all the time is how do I know? What should I do?
Exactly. And that Facebook group type, when you determine that on the front end, that determines how much control you have over this. So we talked a lot about creating a social media presence with purpose and creating your customer journey and how to take a cold lead and warm them up real nice to where they're happy, willing, and ready to buy your products and services. A lot of that can be done in a Facebook group. So making sure that you pick the right one is a great way to generate leads and sales because you have a private space if you set your group up correctly to share your valuable content, to host events, webinars, to go live randomly unannounced in the middle of the day. You can run your promotions and just really provide a supportive community for everything that you're doing in your business, no matter what your business is. And a lot of that depends on the very first step right out the gate, choosing the right Facebook group type. And there are 3 Facebook group types. They used to be public, closed, and private, but Facebook has changed that to a public group. And then you have 2 types of private groups. It's private hidden and private visible. And we're going to talk about those 3 and kind of help walk you through the pros and cons of each. So hopefully by the end of this video, you feel confident about choosing the right one for your needs and for your business.
Exactly. So let's start with public, right? You want to start with public?
Go for it.
So a public group is going to be one that is just open, wide open. People can see your posts without even having to join. They are able to, in my opinion, you lose a lot of control with them, but there are great times when you would want this. You're going to think of these more like a page where you're trying to build up a huge followership of it. So it could be memes and more for entertainment, I think, more than education. If you're doing an educational type group, I would stick with one of the privates that we're going to talk about next.
Exactly, because a big drawback of that is unless you have a team, if you have the resources to hire a team who can manage it and keep it safe, can keep out spammers. We've all seen awful just where they tag 99 people and there's 47 graphics and it's a bunch of pictures of knockoff Oakleys or whatever. You've seen those, and that's spam, and that will turn off group members very, very quickly. You'll lose your membership. at an accelerated rate, and people will become unengaged or leave your group entirely. So public groups in general, we like to see those saved for people who can have a team to help manage them. So it's going to be something like celebrities or big businesses, athletes, things like people, entities like that. Or again, something like mommy memes and just memes in general, where it's got a broad appeal. But again, you're going to get a lot of spammers if you don't have someone whose near full-time job is to weed out the content that's not welcome in that group.
Exactly. And one of the reasons that you would want to have the private is because of the fact of having your perfect people in your group. So if it's public, you can't allow, you don't get that choice of allowing people in per se. So with that, you're just at the mercy of the algorithm. So whether people engage or not is a big deal of how your posts will be shown. So in my opinion, let's talk about the private groups, because for the most part, I would think that that's what most people are going to end up choosing, one of these two. And the first one is private visible.
Exactly. And there's a lot of good things about a private visible group. These used to be called closed groups. Facebook has changed things around a little bit, and now it is called a private visible group. So when you go to set up your Facebook group, you want to choose private, and then you'll have two options, and you'll choose the visible option. And what that means is that people can find your group, but they have to request to join. Which gives you control. That's basically what you get back when you go from a public group to private. As an admin, you get control over accepting people into your group or refusing them. And that allows you to keep out the trolls, or to remove them, the spammers, if you will, very, very easily, compared to a public group where you could have 1,000 people join overnight, and by the time you wake up, you can't even find any content that you posted in your public group.
Exactly. Your group would have been hijacked. So, and with that, with the private visible and private hidden, you need to ask questions. So qualifying questions. I've seen these done in so many different ways, but you just want to make sure that the people you're letting into your groups are people that will they're going to be engaged. There's nothing worse than having a dead group. There's been this huge push for people to close down their groups because they've gotten away from them. So one way is going to be to ask great questions that are going to know you're letting people that really want to be there in. And then also the group rules there, being sure to have a list like no spamming, no promotional links, no tagging people, however you want to set yours up. But those are some of the things that you're going to give you the control there to be able to protect your group.
Exactly. And finally, one of the biggest benefits of a private visible group over a hidden group, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But one of the things about a private visible group that is so attractive to most small business owners we work with is that Facebook will actually suggest your group if it's private and visible. So that means that Facebook is smart. It knows who's in your group. It knows groups who have similar content, and it will show those groups to people who might be interested. It'll show the cover photo and your brief description and give them an opportunity to request to join. And that is a great way to organically grow your Facebook membership. We have a lot of tips on how you can grow your Facebook membership, but that's one way where Facebook actually can work for you.
Right. And addition to that, the algorithm is so smart that if you've got the right people in, it's going to identify other people and suggest to those people. That it's going to know the difference. It's going to know to suggest it to them. And it's the same as ads, the same how ads work. So I love that aspect. And when you've got your name correctly, we have another video on like how to name your group. And that's a super way to make sure you're attracting the right people. What's in it for them.
Exactly. So the third kind of group is a private hidden group. So as you can probably guess, a private hidden group is completely private and it's completely hidden. And the only way to have someone join is to send them a request or to send them a link to see the group. So it's definitely the most exclusive. You also lose that benefit of Facebook suggesting that group to interested parties. But I guess there are a few businesses who could benefit from a private hidden Facebook group. But it would be very small and a very unique situation where maybe you are delivering a paid program to people who have already purchased something from you, or maybe you have like an exclusive test group, or maybe you're a larger employee and you just want somewhere really intimate to communicate with those 10 to 20 people. But in general, the private hidden group is so private and it's so hidden. It's very hard to grow a robust membership with a private hidden group unless you have a massive email list or a massive following somewhere else.
Exactly. So with that, again, one of the biggest uses for that or use cases would be in the coaching. So like if we took on a one-on-one client, we could have a hidden group. I've seen it done with coaching clients just to create a group and have just the coach and just the one student in, and all of their content be in there. Same with small group coaching. And basically where you don't want anyone else to see and you don't want it to be discoverable because they've paid through another mechanism to be able to be there. So, group coaching is a great way. And then on something that's not necessarily business, but I've seen that a lot of families do this to be able to share photos and have like maybe like a family reunion or what Christmas photos, whatever they are. So that kind of gives you an idea of when you would want to use this.
Exactly. So hopefully deciding which type of Facebook group isn't a mystery to you anymore. It really depends on what you're looking for in the group. But if you are looking for that safe space to collect your leads and to turn them into warm, happy followers who know who you are, who know why they need your product, and assuming that you don't have a team of people who can help you manage an open Facebook group, we suggest a closed, visible Facebook group so that you can gain that control, but then also benefit from what Facebook does to promote those types of group. And we find that this closed, visible Facebook group works for nearly all small business owners, direct sellers, solopreneurs, you name it.
Exactly. It provides that sense of community. And there's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about just in the open Facebook space. If they're in a closed or private community, they don't mind opening up about a certain topic. So I would say that probably 95%, at this point, the way they're structured, probably 95% of the groups would be in that private visible group.
Private visible. They changed things on us. So
exactly. I'm trying to throw open in there. Anyway, so private visible group. So if you are in doubt, I would start there for sure. So, because that's going to be the majority of what, and you've got your control and you can nurture your community there.
Exactly. So go forth, set up your Facebook group if you already have one, and we've given you some ideas for maybe changing the type of group. Let us know what kind of group that you have in the comments, and make sure you hit the subscribe button if you found this video useful. Oh yeah, and I'm Jess.
And I'm Julie.
We didn't do our intro. Jess and Julie from Socially Inclined.
Exactly. Join us for another one soon.